So the Knicks are next up. I don't even know. People are going to say it should be. I don't know what they should do. I think they should probably lean towards selling the names I have listed. Now, go with me on this. Josh Hart was one. I think that they need someone else other than RJ Barrett who is going to be versatile and a net positive on defense and cover. Hart's going to give you a wider range of assignments than RJ Barrett because I think he's better than Barrett at covering bigger players, even though I believe Barrett is taller at 6'7" than Hart is. He doesn't hit enough of his threes necessarily to be an asset at that end. But again, I'm looking at, I feel like they don't have enough players who are even really good at one thing. They don't have enough two-way players, period. But they don't have enough players aside from Randall who are just really good at one thing. And Randall's been all over the place this year. So I just thought of Josh Hart because maybe you give up a lower level pick if New Orleans is willing to take back one of your cruddy contracts. I also could talk myself into New Orleans actually needing Kemba. So if it's Kemba and an asset for Hart, and you might have to include a smaller salary in there, but maybe Kemba, a smaller asset, and then a pick for Josh Hart. I don't know if that gets done. Now, if there was a team that I think should buy low or buy in at all to Duncan Robinson, it would be this. It would be the Knicks because Evan Fournier is not.
If Miami's willing to sell low.
Well, I'm just saying, yes, absolutely, 100%. And I don't think you're trading Alec Burks in that scenario. Who are they going to be interested in among your other middle end guys? In theory, it could be Evan Fournier, just as someone who handles the ball more. But I think we've seen that, at least in New York, the idea of Evan Fournier is a lot better than actual Evan Fournier. I can't bring myself to get hyped up about the idea of, you know what, the Knicks should be the team that tries to go all in for De'Aaron Fox, or they should try and push for a Damian Lillard trade. Some people have floated the idea of it being CJ McCollum. I just don't. CJ McCollum and Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, where does that get you?
I just don't know what to make of this team, honestly. The fact that Kemba panned out that poorly just significantly alters the fortunes of this team, because now you're trying to squeeze Alec Burks in at point guard and keep Derrick Rose coming off the bench, but RJ Barrett has struggled to progress on offense, and Fournier, as you said, the idea has been better than the actual player, and Julius Randle has been all over, and Nerlens Noel can't stay healthy, and Mitchell Robinson is sometimes coming off the bench now and has lacked conditioning and all that jazz. So it's like, I have no idea what this team is. And that's troubling. And it also makes the idea of trading an even riskier proposition, because you're selling diminished assets and trying to force a fit back, because this team is not going to be entering a rebuild. It can't. So you're trying to find an immediate contributor alongside struggling players who then have to figure out chemistry with a new primary player. And it's a baffling situation.
It's really tough to wrap my head around, and that's why it was tough to come up with targets for them. I know Myles Turner has become a popular name among Knicks fans on Twitter. The trades that I've seen floated are terrible. They're an atrocity when it comes to trade suggestions. It's basically been Kemba, a salary, a young player like Knox that the Knicks don't even want, and a terrible first-round pick for Myles Turner.
I just don't know what they have to give up.
They have Quickly, they have Toppin. Those are guys that I don't consider. They also have their picks from this year, like a Deuce McBride, Quentin Grimes. So I think there are moves that they could make. So for Josh Hart, it probably needs to be a salary. Like if you could get off Evan Fournier, what if New Orleans said we're willing to eat Evan Fournier? You give us 2 firsts and one of your rookies from this season, Quentin Grimes. Or so you're not
going to mean Zion shot, by the way.
What's that?
Nothing.
So I don't think New Orleans would even necessarily do that, but I think they have options. I just don't know. I don't know how to fix this team is my point, because they need so many things. And you've tied yourself to a core built around Julius Randle, where unless RJ Barrett explodes and stays like at the mountaintop, and I'm not ruling it out because I tend to be higher on RJ Barrett now than the consensus, even though I might've been lower on him. I wouldn't say than the consensus, but I was not encouraged by his rookie season at all. Julius Randle is even your first best player, you're not maybe a mid-end playoff team. As your second best player, who needs to be your first best player for you to be a contender? And I don't see that type of first best player out there. I don't even think it would be Dame if he was available. And so that's where you run into issues. That's what makes this squad so tough to wrap your head around leading into the trade deadline.
I'm
And
right there with you.
low
I just,
key, if they decide to sell, I think they could get something nice for Alec Burks, who has been by and large fantastic this year.
yeah, they could definitely get like a back end first round pick or some sort of intriguing young player, but nothing that's going to change the trajectory of this season, I don't think.